I never thought I'd have to evict my own sister. But watching my brand new iPhone crash against the wall of our family home, I realized there was no turning back. I'm Emma Collins, 32, and until today, I thought I was doing the right thing by letting my younger sister Lauren live rent-free in our parents' old house while I paid all the bills. The house where we grew up, a modest 3-bedroom colonial in the suburbs of Boston, had been our parents' pride and joy. When they died in a car accident 2 years ago, they left it to both of us. The mortgage still had 15 years left, and Lauren, being Lauren, couldn't afford to pay her share. So I stepped up, like I always did. "You're making a huge mistake," Lauren snarled, her face red with rage as she stood in our parents' old living room. The same room where we'd opened Christmas presents, celebrated birthdays, and shared family dinners. Now it felt like a battlefield. I remained calm, smoothing down my charcoal gray business suit, the one I bought to celebrate making partner at my law firm last month. "The mistake was letting you live here for 2 years without contributing a single penny. I'm your sister." Lauren's voice cracked. At 29, she still acted like the temperamental teenager she'd been when our parents were alive. "This is my home too." "Was your home," I corrected her, pulling another copy of the eviction notice from my briefcase. "Until you stopped opening my messages about property taxes and utility bills. Until you started hosting parties that got the neighbors complaining. Until you let your boyfriend and his 3 friends move in without even asking me." Lauren's boyfriend, Jake, chose that moment to emerge from upstairs, where he'd probably been sleeping off last night's party, the latest in a string of loud gatherings that had prompted calls from the neighborhood association. "What's going on?" he asked, scratching his tattooed chest, still shirtless at 2 p.m. "She's trying to sell our house," Lauren screeched, gesturing wildly at me. "My own sister is throwing me out on the street." I took a deep breath, channeling the composure I used in courtroom negotiations. "Lauren, you've had 6 months of warnings. I've sent emails, texts, and left voicemails. I even had my assistant try to reach you. You ignored everything." "I've been busy," Lauren protested, running her hands through her disheveled blonde hair, the same shade as mine, though that was where our similarities ended. "You know I'm trying to get my influencer career off the ground. These things take time." 200 Instagram followers in 2 years isn't a career," I said, perhaps more sharply than necessary. "And it certainly doesn't pay the $2,800 monthly mortgage that I've been covering alone." Jake stepped forward, trying to look intimidating despite his rumpled appearance. "Hey, you can't talk to her like that. She's an artist. She needs space to create." I raised an eyebrow at him. "And what exactly do you contribute, Jake, besides helping empty my sister's wine cellar and raising the utility bills?" "Don't you dare," Lauren started, but I cut her off. "No, let me finish. In the past 2 years, I've paid $67,200 in mortgage payments, another $24,000 in property taxes, not to mention utilities, insurance, and repairs. That's nearly $100,000 of my money while you've lived here for free." I pulled out my phone, my now shattered phone, and opened my expense tracking app. "Want to see the spreadsheet? I've documented everything." Lauren's face twisted into an ugly expression I'd seen more and more frequently since our parents' death. "Of course you documented everything. Perfect, Emma, always keeping score. Mom and Dad would be ashamed of you." That stung, but I didn't let it show. Mom and Dad taught us responsibility. They worked hard to give us this house. They'd be ashamed to see how you've treated their legacy. I gestured to the living room around us. The once pristine hardwood floors were stained and scratched. The walls, which Mom had lovingly painted a warm sage green, were now scuffed and marked. Empty bottles and pizza boxes littered every surface, and a suspicious smoky smell hung in the air, one that definitely wasn't from cooking. "I'm not just selling the house because of the money," I continued. "I'm selling it because watching you destroy it piece by piece is breaking my heart." Lauren's eyes filled with tears, real ones this time, not the manipulative ones she perfected as a teenager. "You can't do this. Where am I supposed to go? I've given you 3 months' notice. That's more than generous. The house goes on the market next week, but you have until the end of the month to find a new place." 3 months? Jake interjected. "But that notice you sent was just junk mail. We didn't think you were serious." I pulled out my phone again, my poor, broken phone, and scrolled through my sent messages. September 15th. Lauren, we need to talk about the house. I can't keep paying for everything. October 1st. This situation isn't sustainable. Please call me. October 15th. I'm considering selling the house. We need to discuss options. November 1st. This is your formal notice. The house will be listed for sale in January. Lauren slumped onto the couch, dislodging a pile of takeout containers. But I thought you were just trying to scare me. You always take care of everything. You're the responsible one. Yes, I am. And responsibly, I'm telling you that this ends now. I've already signed with a realtor. They're coming to take photos next week. That was when Lauren snapped. She grabbed my phone from my hands and hurled it against the wall with all her might. The screen shattered spectacularly, shards of glass twinkling as they fell to the floor. You can't sell my home, she screamed. I calmly reached into my briefcase and pulled out the final document, the one I'd hoped I wouldn't need. Actually, I can. You see, last month when you ignored the registered letter from my lawyer, you missed something important. Lauren's face paled as she read the document. What is this? When you failed to respond to the formal notice, you defaulted on our co-ownership agreement. As per the terms of our parents' will, your half of the house reverted to me. I am now the sole owner. You tricked me. Lauren's voice was barely a whisper. No, I gave you every opportunity to step up, to work with me to find a solution. You chose to ignore reality just like you always do. I gathered my belongings, carefully stepping around the broken glass of my phone. The realtor will be here Monday at 10 a.m. I suggest you start packing. As I walked toward the door, Lauren called out, her voice breaking. Amy, please. You're my big sister. You can't do this to me. I paused, my hand on the doorknob. The childhood nickname hit me hard, bringing back memories of skinned knees and shared secrets of me protecting her from schoolyard bullies and later from her own bad decisions. I'm not doing this to you, Lauren. I'm doing this for both of us. Sometimes love means making hard choices. I turned to face her one last time. Call me when you're ready to have an adult conversation about your future. But the house is being sold. That's final. I walked out to my car, my heels crunching on the gravel driveway where we'd learned to ride bikes, where Dad had taught us to change a tire, where Mom had waved goodbye to us on our first days of school. As I slid behind the wheel, I heard Lauren's voice floating out through the open window, talking to Jake. She'll change her mind. She always does. She can't really sell the house, can she? I started the engine, fighting back tears. She was wrong. This time, I wouldn't change my mind. Sometimes being the responsible one meant making impossible choices. Sometimes love meant letting go. As I pulled away from the house, my phone, or what was left of it, buzzed weakly in my bag. Probably Lauren, already starting her campaign to change my mind. But it was too late for that. The house would be listed next week, and nothing could change my mind. Or so I thought. Little did I know, Lauren had one last card to play, one that would turn our entire family history upside down. The next morning, I sat in my office at Harrison and Wells Law Partners, staring at my new phone as emails poured in. My assistant, Kate, had already set it up exactly like my old one, except for the spiderweb of cracks, of course. 17 missed calls from Lauren, 32 text messages, and 5 voicemails. I ignored them all. Miss Collins, Kate appeared in my doorway. The realtor is here for your 9 a.m. I straightened my desk, pushing thoughts of Lauren aside. Send her in. Sarah Martinez, the realtor I'd chosen to list my house, walked in with confident steps. She'd come highly recommended, known for handling sensitive family property situations with discretion. Emma, she said warmly, settling into the chair across from me. I've reviewed the property details and comparable sales in the area. Given the current market and your house's location, I think we can list it at $875,000. I blinked. That's significantly more than I expected. Sarah nodded, pulling out her tablet. The market's hot right now, and your parents' neighborhood has become very desirable. Even with the interior needing some work, the bones are good, and the school district is excellent. She paused, glancing at me carefully. However, there is one concern we should discuss. Your sister's social media posts from last night. My stomach dropped. What posts? Sarah turned her tablet around, showing me Lauren's Instagram story. There were dozens of tearful selfies interspersed with old family photos. The captions made my blood boil. My heartless sister is selling our dead parents' house out from under me. She tricked me into signing away my rights. Please share and help me save my home. Hashtag save our house, hashtag family betrayal, hashtag justice. Below that were more posts, each more dramatic than the last. Pictures of every room in the house, overlaid with emotional text about childhood memories. Photos of our parents, clearly taken from their Facebook profiles. Even a video of Lauren sobbing on our mother's favorite window seat, Jake's arm around her shoulders as she begged Emmy not to destroy their family legacy. It's already gotten quite a bit of attention, Sarah said gently. Over 2,000 shares since last night. You might want to get ahead of this before. My office phone buzzed. Ms. Collins? Kate's voice was tense. Channel 7 News is on line 1. They want to talk about a viral story involving your family home. I close my eyes, counting to 10, tell them no comment, and hold all my calls unless it's a current client. Sarah waited until I reopened my eyes. We can still list the house, but you should know this might affect the sale. Some buyers get nervous about property with public complications. I understand. I pulled up my calendar. Can we still do the photo shoot on Monday? Yes, but Sarah hesitated. Will your sister be cooperative? We need the house clean and staged. I thought about the mess I'd seen yesterday, about Lauren's theatrical posts, about Jake and his friends probably still camping out in my parents' home. I'll handle it. After Sarah left, I did something I'd been avoiding. I read Lauren's text messages. How could you do this to me? Mom and Dad would hate you for this. I'm going to tell everyone what you did. You can't get away with stealing my inheritance. Check Instagram. Everyone knows what kind of person you really are. The last message, sent just an hour ago, made my heart stop. Found some interesting papers in Dad's old office. Better call me before I share those too. Dad's office. The one room I hadn't been able to bring myself to clean out after the accident. The room where he kept all his important documents, family records, and private papers. I called Lauren immediately. She answered on the first ring. Oh, so now you want to talk? Her voice was smug. What did you find? Meet me at the house in an hour. Come alone, or these papers go public too. I should have gone straight to court, filed for an emergency injunction to stop whatever she was planning. That would have been the lawyer thing to do. Instead, I did the sister thing. I got in my car and drove. The house looked worse in daylight. Empty cars filled the driveway, presumably belonging to Jake's friends, and music thumped from inside despite it being barely noon. Lauren answered my knock wearing our mother's old silk robe, a detail that felt like a deliberate emotional manipulation. Where is it? I demanded, following her inside. Not even a hello. Lauren led me to Dad's office. The room was a mess, drawers pulled open, papers scattered everywhere. My heart ached seeing Dad's space violated like this. Lauren perched on his desk, holding a manila envelope. You know what this is? If you've damaged Dad's papers. These aren't Dad's papers. She pulled out a stack of documents. These are from the bank. About the mortgage. I frowned. I handled the mortgage. What are you talking about? Really? Because according to these, the mortgage was paid off 3 years ago, before Mom and Dad died. That couldn't be right. I've been paying $2,800 every month since their death. I'd seen the mortgage statements. Lauren handed me the papers. See for yourself. Dad paid off the house with his retirement fund, which means those mortgage payments you've been making. She smiled nastily. Where exactly has that money been going? My hands shook as I read. The documents looked authentic. A letter from the bank confirming the mortgage had been paid in full, dated 6 months before our parents' accident. But that was impossible. I'd seen the mortgage statements, made the payments myself. This has to be a mistake, I muttered. Or maybe you've been stealing from me. Lauren's voice was hard. You said you've paid almost $70,000 in mortgage payments since they died. But there is no mortgage. So where's my half of that money, Emmy? I felt like the floor was tilting under my feet. I make the payments every month. I have the statements. Show me. I pulled out my phone, the new one, and opened my banking app. There they were, every payment for the past 2 years. $2,800 to Morgan Liberty Bank, labeled mortgage payment. Lauren leaned over my shoulder. That's weird because according to these papers, Mom and Dad's mortgage was with First National. Different bank entirely. She straightened up, crossing her arms. Want to explain that? I didn't. I couldn't. None of this made sense. Here's what I think, Lauren continued, warming to her theory. I think you've been lying about the mortgage, collecting payments for a debt that doesn't exist, stealing my inheritance in monthly installments. That's ridiculous, I snapped. I'm a lawyer. I wouldn't risk your career, your reputation. Maybe that's why you're so desperate to sell the house. Before anyone discovers what you've done. My head was spinning. I need to make some calls. Sure, call whoever you want. Meanwhile, I'll just update my Instagram story. Lugging sister caught stealing thousands from dead parents' account. Has a nice ring to it, don't you think? I grabbed her arm. Don't you dare post anything until we figure out what's going on. She yanked away. You have 24 hours to transfer my half of the money you've been stealing. Otherwise, this all goes public. Good luck explaining it to your fancy law firm. As I drove back to my office, my mind raced. Something was very wrong here, but I couldn't piece it together. I needed help, but who could I trust? My entire professional reputation could be at stake. Then I remembered. There was one person who might know the truth. Someone who'd handled all our parents' financial matters. I pulled over and dialed a number I hadn't called in 2 years. Hello? A familiar voice answered. Uncle Steve, it's Emma. We need to talk about Mom and Dad's mortgage. His sharp intake of breath told me he knew something. Emma, honey, I was wondering when this would come up. When what would come up? Meet me at my office in an hour. There's something you both need to know. I ended the call, my stomach churning. Whatever Uncle Steve had to tell us, I had a feeling it would change everything. And I was right, but not in the way any of us expected. Uncle Steve's accounting firm looked exactly as I remembered it. All gleaming glass and polished wood, with that faint scent of coffee and paper that seemed to permeate every financial office. Our uncle, our mother's older brother, had handled our family's taxes and financial planning for as long as I could remember. I wasn't surprised to find Lauren already there, perched on the edge of a leather chair in Uncle Steve's office, still clutching Dad's manila envelope like a weapon. What did surprise me was Uncle Steve's expression. He looked older than his 60 years, worn down by whatever he was about to tell us. Sit down, girls, he said, gesturing to the chairs. This isn't going to be easy. I took the seat furthest from Lauren, noticing how Uncle Steve's hands trembled slightly as he opened his laptop. First, he began, Emma, those mortgage payments you've been making, they haven't been going to any bank. My chest tightened. What do you mean? He turned his laptop around, showing us a bank statement. They've been going here, to an account in your parents' names. An account I helped them set up 2 years before they died. Lauren leaned forward. So she has been stealing. Let me finish, Uncle Steve cut her off sharply. Your parents paid off the house with your father's retirement fund, yes. But they had a reason for letting Emma think the mortgage still existed. He pulled out a thick folder and removed a letter. I recognized Mom's handwriting immediately. This is from your mother, written a month before the accident. They asked me to keep it until something like this happened. He handed me the letter. Lauren jumped up to read over my shoulder as I opened it. Dear Emma and Lauren, if you're reading this, something has happened to your father and me, and the truth about the house has finally come out. We hope you can forgive us for the deception. Emma, honey, those mortgage payments you've been making haven't been going to waste. Every penny has been saved in a special account, your father's idea. He called it the Sisters Security Fund. We've watched you both grow into such different people. Emma, you've always been responsible, careful, planning everything. Lauren, you're our free spirit, following your dreams without worrying about tomorrow. We love these things about both of you, but we've worried about how these differences would affect your relationship after we're gone. The house was meant to be shared, but we knew that would cause problems. Emma would want to maintain it properly, keep it in the family. Lauren would need help with her share of the expenses. We feared this would either force you to sell the house or worse, drive you apart. So we created this plan. The mortgage payments would give Emma the security of knowing the house was being properly maintained, while creating a safety net for both of you. The money has been gathering interest, meant to either help maintain the house or provide a cushion when you eventually decide to sell. The account now contains all of Emma's payments plus the original balance we left. It was meant to be revealed when you both were ready to make decisions about the house together, as adults. We love you both so much, Mom and Dad. I lowered the letter, my vision blurring with tears. Lauren had gone very quiet. Uncle Steve cleared his throat. The account currently holds just over $178,000. Your parents' initial deposit, plus Emma's payments, plus interest. All this time, I whispered, they were planning for this. They knew you'd need time to figure out how to handle the house together. Uncle Steve said gently, they hoped the shared account would give you a way to do that without fighting. Lauren sank back into her chair, her face pale. So Emma wasn't stealing anything. She was basically saving money for both of us. Your parents knew her sense of responsibility would ensure the payments were made, Uncle Steve explained. And they knew your creativity and spirit would keep the house feeling like a home. They wanted you to balance each other out. I thought about all my frustrated calls to Lauren about bills, all her ignored messages, all my growing resentment. Fat lot of good their plan did. We're still fighting. Because you were trying to sell my home. Lauren protested, but her voice lacked its earlier venom. No, I turned to face her. Because you turned their home, our home, into a party house. Because you wouldn't take any responsibility. Because every time I tried to talk to you about it, you ignored me or made excuses. Lauren's lower lip trembled. I miss them so much, Emmy. Being in that house. It's all I have left of them. I know I've been irresponsible, but the thought of losing it. She broke down, tears streaming down her face. For the first time in months, maybe years, I really looked at my sister. Past the dramatic posts and defensive attitude, I saw what I'd been missing. She was scared. Lost, just like I was, but showing it in a completely different way. The house isn't all you have left, I said softly. You have me. You've always had me. But Lauren, we can't go on like this. Uncle Steve cleared his throat. There is one more thing. He pulled another document from his folder. Your mother added a condition to the account. The money can only be accessed if both of you agree on how to use it. Lauren wiped her eyes. What do you mean? You either need to agree to sell the house and split everything equally, or agree on a plan to keep it and maintain it together. But it has to be a joint decision. I almost laughed. Even from beyond the grave, our parents were trying to make us work together. So what do we do now? Lauren asked, looking at me with red-rimmed eyes. I took a deep breath. First, you need to take down those Instagram posts. All of them. She nodded, already pulling out her phone. Then maybe we talk. Really talk. About the house, about our parents, about everything. And Jake, she asked quietly. Jake and his friends need to move out. Today. She was silent for a long moment, then nodded again. They've been taking advantage anyway. I see that now. Uncle Steve smiled, looking relieved. Your parents would be proud to see you both finally having this conversation. As we left his office, Lauren touched my arm. Emmy, I'm sorry about your phone. You're buying me a new one, I said firmly, but found myself smiling. And Lauren, I'm sorry too. I should have tried harder to understand what the house meant to you. We had a long way to go. The house still needed work, boundaries needed to be set, and years of bad habits needed to change. But standing there with my sister, I felt something I hadn't felt since our parents died. Hope. Then Lauren's phone buzzed. She looked at it, her face going white. Emma, we have another problem. A bigger one. Lauren handed me her phone, hands shaking. On the screen was a text from Jake. If you're kicking me out, everyone's gonna see what I found in your dad's computer. Better have $50,000 in cash by tonight. What's on Dad's computer? I asked, my lawyer instincts kicking in. I don't know. Lauren's voice cracked. Jake said he found some old files when he was borrowing Dad's laptop to play games. Something about the family business. He showed me a screenshot, but I didn't understand it. The family business. Dad's hardware store, which he'd sold 2 years before the accident. The sale had allowed him to pay off the house. Did he say what kind of files? Financial records, I think, he said. He said they looked interesting enough that your law firm wouldn't want them public. My blood ran cold. Dad had handled his own books for years before the sale. If there were any irregularities, any creative accounting, he's bluffing, I said, more confidently than I felt. He's just trying to squeeze money out of us now that his free ride is ending. Lauren twisted her hands together. But what if he's not? What if he found something that could hurt you? Your career? I looked at my sister, really looked at her. A month ago, I would have assumed she was part of Jake's scheme. Now I saw genuine fear in her eyes. Fear for me. Call him, I said. Tell him to meet us at the house in an hour. Tell him we'll pay. Emma, no. You can't give him. I squeezed her hand. Trust me. For once in your life, just trust your big sister. Exactly 1 hour later, Jake swaggered into our parents' living room, looking smug. He'd at least put on a shirt this time. Ladies, he drawled, dropping onto the couch. Got my money. Show us what you found first, I said calmly. He pulled out Dad's old laptop, the one that had sat untouched in his office for 2 years. Lots of interesting spreadsheets on here. Your dad was pretty creative with his bookkeeping before he sold the store. Wonder what the IRS would think. I smiled. Not my lawyer smile, but the one I learned from our mother. The one that meant someone had seriously miscalculated. Lauren, call them. My sister opened the front door. 2 police officers walked in, followed by Uncle Steve. Jake jumped up. What the hell? Jake Matthews, the first officer said, you're under arrest for attempted extortion and unauthorized access of private financial records. You can't. Jake started. Actually, we can. I interrupted. See, that laptop? It's evidence. Those files. They've been certified by a forensic accountant. That's my uncle here, as completely legitimate. Dad's books were clean, but your attempt to extort money from us? That's very, very dirty. The second officer began reading Jake his rights while the first one cuffed him. Lauren, baby, Jake pleaded, don't let them do this. My sister stood straighter than I'd seen her stand in years. Get him out of here. After the police left with Jake, Lauren collapsed into my arms, sobbing. I'm so sorry, Emmy. I'm so sorry for everything. I held her close, remembering all the times I comforted her when we were kids. I know, me too. Uncle Steve cleared his throat. Girls? What do you want to do about the house? Lauren pulled back, wiping her eyes. I think Mom and Dad were right. We need to make this decision together. I looked around the living room. Despite the mess Jake and his friends had left, I could still see the home beneath. The marks on the doorframe where Mom had measured our heights. The window seat where Dad had read us stories. The wall where Lauren had practiced her photography, taking endless pictures of our family. What if, I said slowly, we use the money from the account to fix the place up? Really restore it? Lauren's eyes lit up. You mean, keep it? On 2 conditions. First, we set up a proper rental agreement. You pay what you can afford, I cover the rest. But everything is documented. She nodded eagerly. And second? You go back to school. Finish your degree. Mom and Dad always wanted that for you. I'd need help with tuition. Good thing we have this emergency fund they set up for us. Lauren hugged me again, tighter this time. I won't let you down. Not again. Later that evening, after we'd ordered pizza and started making plans for the house's renovation, Lauren looked at me seriously. You know what this means, right? What? You have to help me repaint. And knowing you, you'll want to color code the whole house. I threw a pizza crust at her, both of us laughing like we hadn't laughed in years. Mom and Dad had been right. We balanced each other out, my responsibility, her creativity. We just needed to remember we were sisters first, before anything else. As for the house, it's still in the family. Lauren's finishing her photography degree and some of her work is actually getting noticed. She pays her rent on time now, and I've learned to relax a little about the small stuff. Sometimes the best investments aren't the ones you make in property, but the ones you make in family, even if they occasionally smash your phone.